Okay. Rachna, you okay? Rachna, can you hear us?
Yeah, I have muted myself.
Okay, okay.
And my video is off, so.
All right. Okay, I'm going to start now. Hi, everyone. I'm Anjali Raghbir from Writers Key. We're an education consultancy based out of New Delhi, India. We help students with their college applications. Our students come from across the globe. They come all the way from London, Singapore, and of course, India. We have with us Professor Daniel McQuade from Columbia Business School, who I would like to extend a really warm welcome. Thank you for joining us all the way from New York. It's lovely to have you with us. Before I move on to introducing Professor McQuade, I'd like to introduce my teammate, Rachna. Rachna, do you want to say a word about yourself?
Hello, everyone. We look forward to enlightening you about the Global Entrepreneurship and Leadership Program today with Professor McQuade. Please post your questions on the Zoom chat, and we will try and answer them as best as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachna. And before I move on, I have to thank a big shout out to Latika Kohli, who's helped us get in touch with Professor McQuade. She and I have been friends forever. Our daughters went to school together, but I think we share a really common passion for education. Thank you, Latika, for helping us put this together. So Professor McQuade, who's joining us from New York, Columbia Business School, runs Venture All. He's the global director of Venture All, which is a program started by Columbia Business School to foster entrepreneurship among students and the community. And that's amazing because today we're a generation of entrepreneurs, and Columbia Business School has put together this program. They've been honing it every year. And now this in-person program is online, which is absolutely fantastic. The program is known as Global Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation. They've kept their word, they've innovated, and they are now online as opposed to being in person. So Professor McQuade, welcome to the program. And my first question to you would be, I know that the coronavirus has impacted so many students across the globe. How have you dealt with it, and how is Columbia dealing with summer programs with this?
Well, thank you for having me first off, and to everyone that's here. I hope that you're all safe with your families, you're all nourished, and we have that compassion in our hearts to help our community and our neighbors first and foremost. The impact of this, not just for students, but for everybody in the world, has been significant, right? It's something that we've never experienced before. And even as, a student or a professor or a business person trying to understand this and wrap your arms around what has happened, what's next, where do we go from here, it's been quite an experience, even for ourselves, even for me personally. One of the things that I found since this began is that the community at the university has been supporting each other. We've been supporting our communities right around the university as well, and as far as globally. The university, fortunately, for a number of years now, we've been doing e-learning on a professional level with MBA classes, EMBAs, et cetera, working with people from around the world that have been online. So we have been, honestly, this has not been a transition for us whatsoever. It's actually been pretty easy because we're already doing it, although not at the scale that we've been doing it. The university immediately went into a shutdown mode for the safety of our students and our community. And we transitioned from one day to the next. And obviously with technology today, with our students, this was really, really easy for us. The other thing about it is that we have, since it's not just the technology, but it's the experience of the instructors that are quite assimilated to online learning and what works best. I actually think that some of the online works even better than having 45 people in a closed classroom. It's very difficult to manage that classroom sometimes, but where we're on a call like this and we can see the individual names and the faces, we can go into breakout rooms. I kind of enjoy it a little bit. It's been I think for us it's been a very easy transition. And the second thing that happens is that when we teach this course, we usually go to the country and we have everybody from India, or we have everybody from Jakarta or Indonesia. Now that we're doing this course, we've got some integration of multinational students that are learning together about a subject that's global. So I
there's
know that was
always
a
a silver
long
lining
answer to your question. Right.
So, but there's always a silver lining to everything that means.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
Especially for you students that are on. I mean, you guys are easy as compared to some of the adults that we've been working with right now globally with industries. You guys can adapt a lot easier than they can to these new processes. So you have an advantage.
Absolutely. Right, right. And I think that's amazing because the student community is handling it amazingly well. I think they've really rallied around, and I think universities have been amazing in the way they're supporting everyone, which is brilliant. Yeah.
I will say that I've obviously spoken to a lot of students over the past 45, 60 days, and a lot of them have experienced the online burnout from teaching. And unfortunately, a lot of the instructors, and I know you guys are going to be shaking your head when I say that, oh my God, it's painful to be sitting here for an hour because it's not interactive, right?
Right.
And so a lot of the instructors have got to go through a learning mod. Just have patience with them, guys. Not all of them have go to just easy. So give them insights though, because it'll make it better for the next class.
Right, right. So Professor McQuade, I want to ask you, what is the program about? So we're getting a lot of questions about, what is going to be the teaching in the program? Could you tell us a little insight about what the program entails and what would be the takeaway value?
Yeah, I'll open it. I'm going to say a few words, and I'm going to open up and share my screen and just walk through what the program is about, how it's done, and what some of the students have done. And then maybe even share a video from a school that had recently done a class in India recently. One of the things that you're going to learn about this class, it constantly evolves. It's like a business model. It's very fluid. The class that I'm teaching coming up in a few weeks, I just finished a class online this past winter. This next class is going to be completely different just because of what's happening in real time around us. And how do we understand it? How do we pivot? There are businessmen that are asking us, Dan, I don't know what to do next. I don't know where my business will. When do we go back to normal? And there is not going to be back to normal. So this class is going to be very engaging about what is going on, because there's going to be some great businesses and entrepreneurs and creative ideas that are going to come out of this, that 5 or 10 years we're going to go, wow, that was a really good idea. Well, how come they came up with it and other people did? That's what we're going to teach. We're going to talk about vision. But we want to also teach you a process of understanding how to take that idea and what are the necessary steps to actually create a business. In full transparency, I'm going to be sharing a startup that I'm working on right now that has been created because of this pandemic. And I have to tell you that a month ago, I wasn't doing this. And within a month, we already have pre-funding for a business that hasn't even started yet because of the potential that we see. But not only do we teach this course, we live this course. So
that's amazing. That's fascinating.
So let me just open up and go through a quick run through of this. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this program here was started by Dr. Jack McQuade back in 2012. And Dr. Jack is the Dean of Global Entrepreneurship at the university. And his vision was, I teach this course called Launch Your Startup, and it's an innovation entrepreneurial type course. It's an MBA course. And he said, wouldn't it be great that we can go to emerging economies, such as India, such as China or Indonesia, and introduce the high school students about this, because they're going to be the future of new entrepreneurship, new business development. Well, since 2012, we're now in all these countries, both online and offline in there. So we've greatly expanded. I think myself, I've had over 2,500 students across the globe, which sounds like a lot, but as you look at it as a percentage of students globally that have been introduced to an MBA course, it's a micro percentage. A little bit about me. I've been working with the university for some time, working with the Small Business Development Center at the university. I've delivered this type of class to professionals and students around the world. I've worked with governments such as in China or in India, working with their tech startup labs as well. So I've also had the business background. I've come out of, I've had 3 startups myself, and I say that has been my true MBA, going through that process. I wish I had taken this course at your age back then. It would have saved a lot of time, a lot of money as well. These are some of the programs we do for professionals and also for students. Here's a group of people from around the world. You can see some of these classes, and we actually teach some of the instructors. This is a bunch of PhDs at a technology university in India that we're introducing how to teach innovation and entrepreneurship in engineering classes as well. So we work with startups like Startup India and Startup Chile, and working with the government of China as well for creative startups there. This is global. What we envisioned back in 2012, 2013, has taken a foot even at our own university. This is all the startup stuff you see going on campus as well. So our vision for the world actually even took off on the same campus. We have engineering students, we have the journalism students, everybody involved in how do we start up, what's innovation, what's the next steps. So for you who have taken the course, let's make believe you're going for your MBA, and you go online and look at the syllabus for Launch Your Startup that is taught by Professor Jack. I do some workshops on this class myself. Here's the syllabus. These are the modules that you're going to learn over a 13-week course. Basically what we did is we took this exact same framework of this MBA course that goes over a semester, and we're going to teach it to you. So this is our syllabus for this class. We're actually going to introduce you to the same MBA class. But what we're going to do is we've structured such a way that we're going to actually teach you these modules step by step. And we're actually going to have you do assignments with us while you're doing it, not offline, but communicating with us. And then we're going to show you, how this process works. Now, usually when we go into a country around the world, we don't talk about generalization. We normally talk about what's going on in China, what's going on in Indonesia, what's going on in India, Singapore, no matter where we are. But with this class, being an online class, we're going to mix you all up, so we're going to touch base on everything that's going on in your part of the world, but also introduce you to what's going on in the other part of the world, which I think is fantastic. What we ask the students to do is we want you to come into this class. You're going to have a pre-assignment. We're going to send you an email, and there's going to be a questionnaire. And we actually want you to work on a project that's doable. Nothing that's kind of crazy out there, but actually an idea that you think has feasibility, that somebody would give you money as a venture investment. It can be your own ideas, something you're passionate about. It could be a venture project. It also could be an NGO or what we call a CSR, which is a corporate social responsibility type program. So what we'll do is you'll submit this before the class begins. We look at it and we read these, and then we align you with other people in the class that may have similar ideas. And then we're going to put you into a group of 3 or 4 people that have similar idea for a venture. And amongst yourselves, you will discuss which one is the most viable. You may incorporate some of the ideas together to create even a better venture as a team. And then as a team, you're going to work on this project. The idea of putting you into a team is because there's a lot of work. You're going to be doing a lot of research. We're going to show you how to do it. And even at the MBA level, we have MBA students that come in with an idea, but sometimes they partner up with other people and they have to work on their ventures as well. So you're going to do the same thing. From there, we're going to bring you on the pathway, right? These are the 10 modules that we're going to go through. There'll be a number of assignments to it. But at the end of the class, what we're teaching you is a process that you're going to use for the rest of your life. You're going to use it in your academic endeavors. You're going to work in your professional endeavors and even your personal endeavors. This is a process. We're going to get you from the beginning to the end. We've actually had some students, they got to the end of their session and their venture was a failure. And they were like, but we learned something. That's what we want to do. So when we work and an entrepreneur is working on something, whether they're doing it in India, whether they're doing it in the United States, or they're doing it in Turkey, and they want to pitch it, we're going to show them when you get to the end here, is this feasible for an investor to give you money? And if it isn't, that's okay. You found out it wasn't, you didn't go ahead, or you had to make a pivot. That's the process we want to teach it. We want to minimize that downside risk for entrepreneurs. I'm going to share an example of what a class looks like, what students produce. So this was a class that I believe was in Jakarta, India last summer. And this team of 4 came up with this idea. And they had a problem. They said, you know what, we can't find jobs. We can't earn some extra money to spend on sneakers or go to the mall or wherever. And they also found out that there are people, adults, that are having a hard time finding people to do smaller jobs for them. So they decided, wouldn't it be great to create an opportunity to connect these teenagers with people that have needs? So they decided to create a digital solution called Kioja, right? And what they did is they created a business model. What's the value of what we're doing? Who we're doing it for? How are they going to use it? What's the marketing? This is called a business model canvas. From there, they said, who needs this? What is the segment of the population that needs this? They do a segmentation. Once they finish that, they dive in and say, let's go a little deeper. Let's draw a picture of what that person looks like. So this is the teenager that needs the job. Here's another one. It's how old they are. This is why they do it. This is their lifestyle. What's their pain? They also did it for the person that wants to hire somebody. So understanding exactly who needs this. Once you do this, we teach you how to find out how big the market is by geography, by gender, by location, by income, household, whatever these searches, we want to get down to these small circles to find out the market size. Okay, we did that. We have any competition out there? Okay, let's find out about them. How are we better? What's our advantage? How are we going to attack them? So we have to do competitive analysis in there. We have to do some competitive positioning. Once we finish that, we said, what would this look like? What would our minimal viable product look like? Whether it's a drawing, whether it's a piece, we've had some people build some equipment, cook some food if they're in the food business. So they decided to show what an app would look like and how you would onboard, right? What your preferences would be. Here's a job. Do you want to take the job? Swipe right, swipe left. What about the woman that needs to hire? They have to onboard too. Okay, now they found out I have somebody that may want to take care of my son or daughter, whatever it was. They can swipe right, swipe left if they want to hire that person. But even better than that, they could review that worker's profile. Then they decided we're going to build an algorithm to determine the social character of this person by identifying their social habits online. And they can get a character score for the employer to see, do I trust this person? Are they responsible? What are their characteristics? From there, after they created that, they came up with their marketing mix. And this is the fun thing, right? This is how we're going to get our customers, keep our customers, grow our customers. So we got to come up with that. Finances. How do we build this? We don't have any money. Well, Walt Disney said, person's wealth isn't measured by how much money they have, it's by how much money they can borrow. And if you have a good idea and you've done your work, I'm doing this right now. I've had companies that are willing to give us money. We don't even have a business yet, and they're willing to fund it because of what we've been able to show them about our idea. So finance is important. We'll teach you how to do that as well. How much money do you need? When do you need it? How are you going to raise it? And then what the next steps of your project going to be to bring this to fruition. And here's the people that did it. They're your age. These are high school students from 10th, 11th, and 12th. They actually won the best venture competition, by the way.
That's amazing. That is, yeah, that's really great. It's and that's what it seems. There's no age barrier today to becoming entrepreneurs. That's the amazing part about it. And how long did this take, Professor? How long did this thing take?
That course, they did that in 5 days.
That was done in 5 days. That entire process.
That entire project was done in 5 days, which at the end of the session, we actually have a pitch, sort of like a Shark Tank. And we have a panel of judges. And you have 7 minutes at that point to give it. I'll show you. We basically, get in front of professionals. and you have 7 minutes to do your pitch, and then there's a 2 or 3 minute question and answer period. Some of the judges we've had, we did this one recently in Shanghai, and we had the chief marketing officer for Coca-Cola China as one of our judges.
Wow.
And she stood there and she said, I cannot believe these students did this in 5 days. And I said, it's amazing, you know, what they're able to accomplish. And she was so impressed with the course that she actually asked me and Columbia University if we would actually take all the new hires and actually onboard them and teach this course to them as well, just to foster their new ideas, that type of thing. So we have a very integrated platform called Canvas, all the materials there. You don't have to write a note. You're gonna have access to all the files, all the readings, all the videos. The other cool thing that we do is this. When they do it both in the classroom and online, we will share your work together, and then I will reflect upon it. I send you videos back and say, hey guys, I just checked your market sizing. Did you consider this or this? So we do a little, you know, personal high touch as well, whether it's online or offline. We do a lot of communication digitally. I like to use video because I'm not a good typist, and so I just will review it and actually do a live feedback with the teams as well. So one of the things that I think has made this program probably world-class is what we ask of the students. This is the only homework we ask of you, is that after every session, will you give us feedback? And we ask a series of questions, 1 or 2, maybe 3 questions per session. And we ask the students to give us feedback. Because as instructors, we're all about improving the experience for our customers, which are the students. And based on the past 8 years of doing this, the students' reflections have actually made the class better, because we're always introducing new case studies. And we want to know, did this case study make sense? Did we deliver it in a way that it brought value for you to understand the concept? So we're constantly changing our class. So we constantly want to get a reflection back and input from the students. Was this valuable to them? So I think that's why we've had such great success with this class.
So in your experience, you've actually seen students take it to fruition. They've actually been funded and started a venture and actually made it happen.
One of our early students, a 14-year-old kid from New Delhi, actually started an education platform, and he was one of the youngest business taxpayers in India. Just recently, a student I had in New Delhi last summer, she and 3 of her classmates, because of the pandemic, has started an online e-com platform that's operating right now. They actually called me at the beginning of this and said, Professor, what do you think? What should we do? And they redid this, and they actually started this platform.
So students can reach out to you. Sorry to interrupt. They can reach out to you post the course when they're developing the program.
Yes, and actually, because so many of them do, I'm actually starting a newsletter twice a week that I'll be sending to all the alumni, and a video. And then I think 3 or 4 times a year we'll do a live sessions, those type of things. So we're going to be starting that. That's coming. I've been saying that for a while. I really need to get that going. So I would like to share a video. Do you think we have time to share that video?
Yes, we do. We do.
Class?
Yes, of course we do.
Let me. Oh, by the way, these are some students that I originally had on the right. They were students from Indonesia. That the 2 of them went to Duke University in the Research Triangle, which I also live. And the student on the right that's hugging my young son was one of our earliest students in India that actually went to UNC Chapel Hill. And during one summer, we actually had him stay at our home here behind me, where you're seeing, because he got an internship at Lenovo, and then his next year he got an internship in New York City at Oppenheimer Funds, and he's recently was hired by them. So it's great to be connected. It's almost like having family.
That's amazing.
Yeah. In fact, the women that you hear, I just spoke to her yesterday. Her name is Alina. She's in Jakarta, and she's working for a startup that just got the second series of funding, and in sustainability platforms. So it's kind of fun seeing what happens next. But let me play a little. Let me play this video of an experience that we had in Hyderabad last year.
Sure.
I think today the rate of innovation, the rate of disruption, the growth of global economies, and that includes the United States, includes India, includes China, and smaller countries as well, is being driven by small enterprise. And small enterprise today is not just repeating existing business in the marketplace. It's not opening another store or having another dress shop or whatever it is. It's technology, it's knowledge, it's industry, it's finance. And these are the things that are driving the new businesses today that are going to be hiring the people of employment for tomorrow.
When I first entered, I didn't know anybody in this program. So we were set up, we were put into a team. We've all had different personal experiences.
We went on to talk about the business model canvas, went on to marketing, branding, and then finances. And before that, we talked about the minimum viable product. And we talked about customers, which is also a very important thing. So we basically progressed to an MBA course.
The simplest, the most powerful tool Professor Dan taught us was the business model canvas. Now, these 9 components have actually taught me how to understand any business in the world. Whether it be Apple, whether it be Honda, the car, it could be Tesla, it could be McDonald's, it could be anything.
I think the transformation was just amazing because he came in as a 10th grade student, and I think I'm taking back somebody who's more confident, who knows how to research and look at possibilities. So it's just amazing. He's so much more confident. He's enthused about his idea.
At the Columbia Global Entrepreneurship Program, the students were very, very inquisitive. So for me, that's definitely something that's required in an entrepreneur and a student who's willing to become an entrepreneur later down the life.
The students were young, but they were so very aware and exposed to things. Their questions made so much sense. I think a lot more than even seasoned entrepreneurs sometimes, and that's so amazing to see.
We thoroughly enjoyed answering the questions of these young and bright minds who came from all parts of India to learn about entrepreneurship and innovation.
From Columbia Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, the one thing that I'm going to take away is the fact that learning never stops.
Use your negatives to your strategic advantage.
Solve a problem in an innovative way. The fun factor, especially the activities that were planned, those were great. Each of us is part of this program, and each of us adds value to this program.
So it's obviously really nice to have these experiences with these students. The other thing I want to talk about too is some of the takeaways that's going to happen is that
Yes,
the students will be receiving a letter of certificate of completion from the Columbia Business School, and also each student will be getting a letter of recommendation, which we do not take lightly. The letter of recommendation is personal, it's one-to-one, it's based on the interaction of the student, quality of the work, the quality of the research. This is my signature on here and Dr. Jack's signature on here, so it's a significant asset. And some students get great ones, and some of them, won't, and it's up to the student. So it's obviously using these for the common application can be a significant advantage going forward.
Yeah, I think that's one big question that has come up is how is this going to help to build my profile for college? I think that's something that we're seeing in the questions that are coming in from the students. How do you think it will impact their application package? Will it sort of show their interest in entrepreneurship and business? And how would that impact how their application is viewed?
I get that question a lot. And I'm going to talk about that when people say, Columbia University, for example, we have 7,000 undergraduate students. We get 100,000 applications. Everybody says, what should I do? Well, a couple of things. Let's forget about the grade point average, because they're going to get, 100,000 4.0s. How do you stick out of that pile, right? What makes you you? By that would be your personal essay. You know, what have you accomplished? What's the reason you want to continue education? What activities have you been on? You know, have you seen the world as a bigger place? What have you contributed? What do you want to contribute going forward? How did you go outside of your normal path of education to develop your skills, right? By taking a course like this, right? I think the fourth thing right now is that a lot of colleges are looking at, okay, a lot of these schools shut down. What did you do? Did you just say, I want to just get a regular grade, or did you just excel your learning experience on your own? What kind of discipline did you have? Did you take an online course? What kind of course did you take? I mean, I struggle with that. You know, I have a 10-year-old, you know, I said, okay, this is a point that even though you're finished with your regular schoolwork, what else are you learning on your own? What are you building for yourself? So I think those are significant assets that will pull you out of the pile of all of those 4.0s when you go into, whether it's Columbia or any other school. So the desire to learn. The other thing is that you're going to be introduced to a subject matter that you may be on an IB class, right? And you're being taught by academic instructors who are, you know, teaching you a format basically without a lot of experience. And we've actually taught some of the IB teachers. We've actually had them in the classroom with the students to learn this. And, you know, they struggle with the concept because they're purely academic. So having the advantage of having someone in the industry from a business school to teach you about entrepreneurship, you may pivot your direction going forward in your undergrad, you know, endeavors. You know, we've had a number of students that were going to go here, maybe in CS, and they said, I really love business, and they went in this direction. So I think the combination of that, even if you were going for engineering, we see that at the MBA level. Like some of the, you know, 30%, 40% of the students that take an MBA course, like are former engineers, because they're creating something, but they also want to know the business aspect of why they're creating it, who they're creating it for, to make sure it will be successful.
Absolutely. And I couldn't resonate more with you when you said, what are you doing with your time? You know, we're getting so many questions from students about how to spend this time. And, you know, it's so easy to binge watch Netflix and sort of just fritter away the time. And,
well, you can
know,
binge watch Dan now. You can binge watch Dan.
No one's watching you. So, you know, that's a fantastic point you brought up. And we've been emphasizing to our student base as well that you must do something constructive. And this course sounds absolutely, you know, tailor-made for anyone interested in business. I think one other question that's coming up, Dan, is about when is the next session and what are the costs involved with it?
Well, I'd like to leave that with Latika because they, you know, the Young Minds teams coordinates all of the class times and all. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this whatsoever. So they pretty much manage my time. I don't know if we can open up Latika to speak.
So Latika is not on this. 1 second, let me just see. She would be on the attendees. Yeah, just a second. Let me just open her up. Give me a second.
There she is.
Let's see. Yeah, she is. Latika?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Rachna. So there are two courses. There is one scheduled from the 1st to the 12th of June. And the other one is from the 8th to the 19th of June. And you know, both the courses have participants, students so far from Istanbul, Mexico, Brazil, Chile, Los Angeles, Jakarta, Singapore. So it's a very, very eclectic global mix of students. The cost is $900 per student, and early bird, I think it's till the 15th of May, is $800 per student.
And Latika, could you tell us the timing as well? How many hours would be required?
So it's 2.5 hours a day, and I can share that with on the chat if you want. So it's 2.5 hours a day, and there is a break. So you know, and everything, like Dan said, is very interactive. All the work is done in the class itself. So there'll be almost like a 1/3 of the time teaching, and then application, and then review, all of that.
Yep.
Right.
So it'd be Monday through Friday. It'd be for 2.5 hours with a break. And, you know, we don't talk for I can't do that. So we teach the modules, 45 minutes, you know, we show case studies, we talk about it, and then they'll work on their assignment for that particular module. So it'll be 2 weeks, Monday through Friday, for about 2.5 hours per day.
Okay. One more question that's coming up is, so we get a lot of people who are not sure if they want to study business only, right? So what if you have a passion around music or sport or art? How do you combine that with business? And that's something, if you could give us a comment on that.
Absolutely. You know, is that whether you're in music or in sports, you know, and if you're an athlete, you are a brand, right? You know, so how do you promote and market yourself? You have to consider yourself that way. Whether you're a musician, understanding, you know, even if you're a musician, who's your audience? Who's your target audience? How do you reach them? You know, how do you develop your skills? How do you your worldview, your world connections, right? Again, we're teaching a process here. And I have to tell you that beyond academics and your professional, your personal life, you know, I thought, where's your career path going as a personal level? The same steps that we're teaching here, you're going to use for that as well. So it's all about a process learning that we're introducing to. And I've had many students that I've spoken to, and they said, Dan, I continue to remember some of the lessons we learned, that before I make decisions, I need to think about it better. I have to make sure that I make a qualified decision about what direction I want my career to go. How do I want my personal life to go? How long I want to work, relationships, jobs, moving. What are the steps that I need to be looking at? So it's all about that process. So whether you're going to go into business, and even today that you may be in part of a company that you provide technology for, or you provide, you know, engineering for. But today, these companies, they're all vertically integrated. That's why we have, you know, platforms like Slack, because we have, you know, research, and we have data analytics, we have business intelligence, we have marketing, we have sales, we have engineering. Everybody's coordinated on the project, and everybody is working together because we need to do it fast. We have to do it right, you know, and make sure we minimize the risk. So you want to be part of the team. And if you have this as an asset, even though you're going to school for engineering, you're going to get on these calls, you're going to go, I know what they're talking about. So it is an advantage as well.
Excellent. Excellent. So I'm just going to ask Rachna, any other questions from students?
Yes, Anjali. A question that a lot of them are asking is, how are you going to group the students, considering that they're going to be from different parts of the world?
It's going to be based on their pre-assignment. I don't care where they are in the world, because we're all going to be in the same room. So they can be from all ends of the world, but they're all going to be in the same room. So it's all going to be about their passion for their venture. That's how we put the students together. I actually want to mix them up. I want them to not be with their friends. I want them to understand that this is the world that they're going to live in the future. They're going to go away to school. They're going to meet new people. Right? They're going to live in a dorm with a complete stranger. Right? They're going to go to work at a company, for a global company all over the world, and they're going to have to do this. This is the greatest thing I can even imagine at their age with this environment that we're offering. So it's going to be about their passion and their idea. And we're going to put them together with the same passion, with the same ideas, and see what comes out of it.
Sure. So one of our students has already started a venture. She started a venture for bubble teas. So she's introducing that in India. And her question is, if she already has a startup and is in the process of scaling up, would it be helpful to do the course?
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, we just had calls with senior executives. They were saying, hey, Dan, well, you know, how do we start this new business venture? How do we take something we're doing and pivot it and do that? This is what you do. I mean, your business, you know, is going to continue to evolve. Business models are fluid. They keep on changing. You got new products, new ideas, new competitors. So absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Absolutely bring that in.
Another question that's come up is, you mentioned that a 14-year-old had started a business. So what would you recommend to a minor to go about creating a business out of their innovative ideas?
Well, you just, what that individual did, is obviously went to his father, and the father said, okay, let me help you set this up. And depending on what country you're in, what the rules and regulations are in order to get a tax ID, and build up the corporation and the articles of incorporation. So, the parent came in and actually helped the student, establish the business as an entity there. So, yeah, it certainly can be done. You just got to get someone to assist you. Hey,
Okay.
I'm doing that now. I have to hire a lawyer to help me set up the corporation as well. I don't know how to do it. That's why I pay them to do it.
Right. And Dan, the big question is, what is the eligibility? How do you apply? Is it open to everyone, or do you have to be a high schooler? What is the criteria for application and the acceptance?
Well, normally we're looking at, a sophomore, juniors or seniors in high school. We've had some freshmen, come in that have done exceptional in this class. And there's a process of an application that Young Minds, you go to Young Minds, you fill it out and you send it to them and submit it, and they review it and they will get back to you on that.
Okay. Right. I think we've covered quite a few of the questions. Let me have a quick look. One of the questions is, do you have a session in June 2020, which you do? You've answered that. I think that's kind of it in terms of questions. Any other questions that you would like to post? We have a couple of minutes left.
Well, one of the things I want to just talk about is specifically for India, because I'm looking here that most of the students here are from India, it seems. Correct that around the call?
Yes.
Let me talk about India for a moment. Okay. Obviously, with what we're going through is global, but I want to talk about my experience with India because I've been there. I don't even know how many times, 15, 16 times now, whatever it is. I love the country. I love the people. And I look at the country of India over the past 10, 15 years as being one of the best opportunities in the world for entrepreneurs. But there's a big problem in India. And India is a country where we say it's imitation, not innovation, that everybody sees this startup doing something and they did really well and everybody copies it, right? So India actually has a high failure rate when it comes to entrepreneurship and innovation because it's more imitation versus innovation. And that culture needs to change. And it is changing with these students at this age right now. We're going to teach them how you bring, is it something new you bring into the marketplace? If I was their age, there's not a country I would want to live in for the opportunity for entrepreneurship than India. I love it. I love the people, love the opportunity. Their GDP over the past 10, 15 years has been the most consistent in the world. It's a land of opportunity, and it's evolving. A lot of students think that they need to go to another country. And I'm like, oh man, let me stay in India because I think the opportunity is amazing there. So I just hope that, we can introduce this sea of change to not being imitators, being, innovators. And let's get more patents written. Let's get more of the education going. And second thing is that woman entrepreneurship, right? I think that there's a huge opportunity for that in India as well. Is that, I just was on a call in Chile with an organization called Startup Chile, and they actually have a women's organization within that. And do you know that the women startups in Chile have a higher success rate than the men-led found-ups?
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So go girls.
Okay. That's very inspiring for all the women who are attending this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Dan, I think that answers all the questions. It's been very informative, the whole session about how you're going to help them build their skills, what is being offered at the program, actually what the cost of the program is, when it's being held. So I think a lot of participants, a lot of students are taking part today, and hopefully they should be joining you for the program. I would also like to mention that we are bringing other universities And I just quickly launch a poll into the other universities that we are bringing to the platform. We have Boston University coming, we have Georgetown, we have New York University, and we have Northeastern coming up. And I think it will be a very enlightening session like it has been with Professor McQuade. And we would really love to see your participation and learn firsthand about the application process. I know a lot of you have asked what is the application process and how you can sort of, what would be the help that you need with it. I think these would be the ones to attend and sort of get an insight into that. So with that, I bring Latika.
Anjali, I think there are two unanswered questions really fast. One of the students is asking, Indian colleges don't really look for extracurriculars. So would this still be a good fit? And the other one is, what if you don't have a business idea before coming into class?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, for the business, let me ask the last one, is that you will be put into a group, so you can work within that group as well. But again, we're teaching you a process, and at the end of the class, you come up with an idea. You just go back. You have the assets to the class. Go and do it. We've taught you how to do it. You're going to repeat exactly what you did in the class and use that when eventually you do come up with an idea. So you will be put into in a group, and you'll have a process of being part of that group and actually saying, hey, I think that one is a good idea, and within that group as well. And what was the previous one, Latika?
What was the second question? If you don't have a business idea, would it still be helpful to come into the course?
Yeah, well, that was the one I answered. I answered that.
Oh, then it's about will the course be helpful for students applying to Indian colleges, as Indian colleges don't really look at extracurriculars?
Well, here's the thing. Who are you doing this for? You're doing it for the college, or you're doing it for you? I hope the answer is you're doing this for you. Okay. Whether you go to a college, it's about what you're developing for yourself. And I will tell you this, I tell every student, every class, no matter where you work, you always want to learn as much as you can to make yourself more valuable for your next role. You're not going to work for one company the rest of your life. You're going to work for this company for 2 or 3 years. You're going to learn everything from them, make yourself more valuable. Then you're going to quit. You're going to work for another company. And you're going to go there because you're going to learn and develop your skills even more and become more valuable. And then you're going to quit. And you're going to go over here and you're going to work for this company. And then you're going to learn everything from them. And then you're going to launch your startup because you've got all of this learning experience because of your career path. That's what makes you valuable. So you should be taking this course for you first and foremost. And if the university doesn't look at this as valuable to them, it's valuable to you.
That's fantastic. That's a fantastic bit of advice to end this on.
Absolutely.
And I think you should all go out and be entrepreneurs, because this is the time to grab that opportunity.
Oh my gosh, it absolutely is. There are people that are what we call reactionaries. And they say, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to get my business back? But then we have visionaries and say, wow, what am I going to let go of? What am I going to do different to go forward? Those are visionaries. Those are leaders. What do you want to be?
Totally. Thank you, Dan. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Latika, for putting this, helping us put this together. Thank you, Rachna.
You're welcome. We hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, we hope to talk to you soon about the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you, Dan. And thank you all the students who joined us.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.